If you've been hanging around the channel long enough, you probably knew this was coming. I love cosmic heroes and space operas, and Marvel Comics has never been afraid to take their heroes to the stars. Since the Fantastic Four, the final frontier of space had been a hot topic for Stan and the gang. So let's crack the spine of my favorite cosmic hero, Captain Mar-Vell, the guy that started it all in my opinion, because without him, we wouldn't have gotten the Kree-Skrull War, the Thanos War, Ronan the Accuser, Carol Danvers, Monica Rambeau, the Negabands. Without them, no Quantum Bands, no Quasar, or Protectors of the Universe. I know, Ronan appeared in Fantastic Four first, but his iconic look with the purple armor and his ties to the blue Kree, all that comes from Captain Marvel. But I'm getting ahead of myself. Things actually begin back in 1967 in Marvel Superheroes Volume 1, Issues 12 and 13, where we first learn of the Kree space captain named Mar-Vell, who had taken on the persona of Dr. Walter Lawson in order to gain access to a NASA rocket facility. It was there that Lawson met Carol Danvers, whose fate, just by meeting Lawson, would never be the same. The success of those two issues prompted Marvel to launch an ongoing series for Captain Marvel, wherein accompanying Mar-Vell on his mission to Earth was his superior Colonel Rog and Mar-Vell's love, the medical officer Una. Rog hated Mar-Vell and was horribly jealous of Marv's relationship with Una. So when the Earthling Carol Danvers kisses Captain Marvel, the hero who saved her life, Rog uses this to turn Una against Mar-Vell, as well as the entire Kree Empire. Rog reports back that Mar-Vell grew infatuated with the Earth and sought to protect it from Kree rule. Ronan the Accuser orders Mar-Vell's execution, and during the scuffle, Una was fatally hit with a stray blast. Mar-Vell was able to escape and takes Una's body to a nearby asteroid, where he laid her to rest and vowed revenge. Now here's where things get really interesting. You see, after a failed attack on Rog, Mar-Vell was cast out into deep space in a rocket that he had no control over. And by the time he crash landed, he had nearly gone mad from isolation and was extremely susceptible to manipulation, and manipulated he was by the Kree Prime Minister Zarek, who under the name of a false god Zoe had tricked Mar-Vell into a series of actions. He had convinced Mar-Vell that in exchange for his life and pledge of servitude, he'd bestow great and wondrous powers to him, including teleportation, where he believed to have whizzed off to Earth in another failed attempt to stop Rog before returning to his homeworld of Kree-Lar on the other side of the galaxy. After a battle with Ronan the Accuser, Mar-Vell is taken by the Super Sentry to see the Supreme Intelligence, the governing entity of the Kree Empire. And the Supreme Intelligence informs Mar-Vell that he had been duped, that Zoe was actually Zarek, who was using Mar-Vell for an attempted coup. The Supreme Intelligence exiles Zarek and imprisons Ronan for their treason, then sets its eyes on Rog, planning to shoot an interstellar laser across the galaxy to blast his ship out of the Earth's orbit. But Mar-Vell pleads with the Supreme Intelligence not to use a means so easily miscalculated. The smallest mistake could destroy the entire planet of Earth. Instead, allow him to go and deal with Rog once and for all, thus revealing to the Supreme Intelligence that he truly did care for the planet, and the reports on him had not been false. However, the Supreme Intelligence does recognize Mar-Vell as being the greatest of all Kree warriors. And for his bravery and to aid him on his mission, the Supreme Intelligence grants Mar-Vell the wondrous powers previously promised by Zarek. And it is by honor of the Supreme Intelligence that Mar-Vell is granted a new battlesuit, his most iconic costume. However, due to his love of Earth, he will never rise within the ranks of the Kree Empire, and will now and forever be Captain Mar-Vell. All of this happens within the first 16 issues, and his far-out spacefaring adventure is just getting started. So many great stories come from these pages, like the previously mentioned Kree-Skrull War, the original Thanos War long before the Infinity Gauntlet Infinity War stories of the early 90s. And during this Thanos War, Marv is granted even higher powers such as cosmic awareness by a being named Eon, an offspring of eternity, when he became the protector of the universe. Now, we're not going to go over every little facet of his publication history. However, I couldn't live with myself if I, like so many others, overlooked the importance of Rick Jones. What's that? A 2 cents within a 2 cents? Nah, Rick will get his own day, as he certainly deserves. But it is important to know that for Mar-Vell in the 1970s, Rick was the sidekick of all sidekicks. He had been there in the earliest days of the Hulk. He had helped the Avengers team up for the first time. He eventually joined the fight alongside Captain America and took up the mantle as the new Bucky. However, he never really felt like he lived up to the name. He felt cast off and unneeded. So he left the Avengers at the same time that Mar-Vell had his encounter with Zarek and Ronan. During that battle, Marv had been subjected to an explosion from a negatron sphere and thus hurled into the negative zone. His only chance to be saved, to again walk the positive matter universe, was by use of the Negabands, an ancient and forbidden Kree weapon that bestows its wielder the ability to manipulate matter and antimatter at the same time. This transference of energy between the positive matter universe and the negative zone would allow Mar-Vell to switch places with its positive matter wielder. And that wielder is, of course, Rick Jones. And if you want my 2 cents, that's really where the beauty of this story is, in the sacrifice that these two were making for each other. Because while Captain Mar-Vell is out fighting galactic threats and saving the planet, Rick Jones sat on the sidelines. His biggest grievance in life, and he did it time and time again. Meanwhile, when the world isn't in danger, it was Mar-Vell who would float endlessly in the negative zone, while Rick Jones became a rock star in search of his own identity and recognition. These two remained part of each other's lives, their independent survivals constantly hinging upon the other. Rick Jones is there every step of the way, every battle with Thanos, every team up with Adam Warlock. Rick was there. He was there, that fateful battle against Nitro. Yeah, that Nitro, the scum of the earth that's responsible for the Stanford massacre that sparked the superhuman civil war. Nitro had stolen an experimental toxin known as Compound 13, and even though Rick Jones was able to strike the Negabands together at just the right moment to both enhance Nitro's blast enough to neutralize him and to shield Rick from the blast, Mar-Vell survives Nitro's blast just fine, but the canister of Compound 13 did not. And Marv is exposed to the gas while sealing the container. The toxic nerve agent in the gas slowly eats at Mar-Vell, causing him cancer. Though the Negabands slow and suppress the spread and growth, eventually, the Kree space captain succumbs to the illness. The death of Mar-Vell impacts the super community deeply. It highlights how no matter how powerful, no matter what obstacles overcome, certain things are inevitable. And in the end, Lady Death comes for all. If you ever get the chance to check out The Death of Captain Mar-Vell by Jim Starlin, I couldn't recommend it enough. Now, if you've been following the channel's Civil War coverage, then you've likely seen The Return, a Civil War tie-in that claims to have pulled a time-displaced Mar-Vell from the negative zone into his distant future. However, that is not Mar-Vell. That is Knarr, a Skrull sleeper agent with replicas of the Kree Negabands. And all of this was building up to the next big event after Civil War, called Secret Invasion. Though he is resurrected a few times, once during the Chaos Wars and then once during the Avengers vs. X-Men event, and in both instances, subsequently sacrificing himself again for the greater good. If you liked this video as much as I liked what Roy Thomas and Jim Starlin did with their runs on Captain Mar-Vell, then give this video a like and consider subscribing for more content in the future. As for my usual suggested for animated sources, check out the Earth's Mightiest Heroes episode titled 495 that gives a great simplification of Mar-Vell and the Kree. Until next time.